What's going on, everybody? Scott Jackson here for Swissbeatbox. I'm so happy you guys tuned in for episode 1 of the brand new SBX official podcast we're starting off called Beyond the Beats. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is where we do in-depth interviews with your favorite beatboxers from around the world to find out what is happening in their lives beyond the beats. Well, we don't like to waste time here. I want to make sure we get the most done with the little time that we have, which is some time, which is more time than we started with. So ladies and gentlemen, come and start this journey with me as I bring out my first guest, Mr. Joseph Boeri, exactly known as the Beatbox President, my good friend, fellow Canadian. Ladies and gentlemen, tune in right now live because we have BBK. BBK, how you doing? How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, Scotty. How are you, bro?
I'm much better seeing your face right here.
Stop.
Where are you tuned in from right now?
West Palm Beach, Florida. Just chilling in my room right now. Quarantine life. Just running the business.
Running the business. That's what I like to hear. Well, it's good to see you on. Thank you very much for being our first guest to kick off this series, and I'm so excited to get into it. So let's not waste any time because time's a valuable thing. We only have a little bit of it, and I want to make the most of the time that we have. So if you're ready to have a good time, BBK, say yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. I want to start off this whole interview, and I'm going to do this on most different occasions when we have different artists from around the world. I just want to go and ask you very first and foremost, what got you into beatboxing? When were you first exposed to it? What was your first experience that made you want to become a beatboxer? Just let me know.
Ventrilo. I was using Ventrilo. For those who do not know, Ventrilo is like Discord, but back in the day, it was like one of the original ones. And I was using it to talk with my cousin and play some video games with our friends. And all of a sudden, my homie was like, yo, pop in this server. You got to check this guy out. And then I pop in. And guess who's going off and having a battle?
Who's
Korean
that?
FX and Smithy. Two legends. I repeat, legends. And they were going off. And once I heard them go off, I was kind of just obsessed. I stopped listening to music. I would just listen to them while playing some video games and just listen to them go off. And then eventually I was just trying to keep doing it. And then, one thing led to another. And then I tried to learn the snare, and then I go on and I ask these guys, I say, hey guys, how do you do the I can't do the because I can't. Back then I was only going like, which obviously sucks. And I want to, so I tried to ask him, hey man, how do you guys? And one of the dudes, I'll never forget it. He told me, dude, you're trash. You won't get it.
Whoa.
Just stop. I said, wait, what? And I didn't. This was my first time ever asking for help. And it was my first time ever like trying something. And this guy just shot me down. Then I got really mad. And I was like, hey, right here, give me 1 week, 3 p.m. after school, Ventrilo server. Meet you there. And then I beat him. And that was it. I was addicted. I was hooked.
So you started off going on Ventrilo, and you actually had that to go and to be able to watch it and hear it live, and hearing someone like Smithy and Korean FX go, that must have been crazy to actually see live. Like,
nuts.
I like that a lot.
I'll say this right now. Controversial topic. That's right, people. Controversial topic. Smithy is the first person to do double voice. There's already a video of it from 10 years ago. Nuff said Smithy invented double voice. However, 2H did perfect it and spread it throughout the world as it is today. I will give him respect.
You'll give him that. Smithy, one of the originals too, man. He's amazing to watch, and I've got to meet him, and it's I remember watching when I first met him. I was like, "Whoa, this guy's like super, super clean." And I never knew him from Ventrilo days because I never really was on there. So to go and see him live,
hear him?
He was at one. It was through John originally. He sent me something and being like, "You got to check this guy out." And I unfortunately never really got onto the online scene until this situation that we're in currently started up. So it's kind of funny to see the parallels there. But that's a question for later on. I want to bring up to the next question I have for you. And just 10 years ago, you put out a video on YouTube where you were just about to start beatboxing, and you could hear one of your brothers, and maybe both of them, come in, and they're telling you, you suck. The whole family hates you. Shut up with the stupid beatboxing. You got to stop making these stupid noises. And then later on in an interview, you mentioned that you were sitting in class, you're about to take a test, and you were just sitting there trying to do a crab scratch, you're trying to do this, and your teacher came up and accused you of cheating on a test or something like this, and all you said to her is like, oh, I'm just trying to go and learn how to do this crab scratch, and this is all I want to go and do. So I think that a question that's relevant to many beatboxers when they start out is family members, teachers, people just in general. A lot of people tell you, hey man, just shut up, stop making these stupid noises. So I wanted to know how did that affect you when you were a kid as you were starting out, and also what advice would you give to other kids out there that are starting out and being told to stop making stupid sounds, essentially?
So for me, for my family especially, because I kept doing it everywhere, I would even do it over the kitchen table, and my grandma would get like that wooden spatula, and she'd be like, stop spitting, and then my dad would just like, every day I would just keep them up too. But you have to understand, coming from them, from when we start, you guys have to understand how really bad we sound when we start. We do sound like we're making fart noises all day, and no one knows what we're doing, because we know what it's supposed to sound like, and we're trying to do that, but it takes a while. Okay, so for me, I just kept doing it, even though they kept telling me not to. Eventually, I got good enough to where once I did my high school talent show, I got recognition from everyone. But before that, everyone would tell me to shut up, and you have to expect it because you sound like garbage. You need to wait until you can showcase your skills, and then everyone's gonna ask you like, yo, why are you even talking? Just beatbox all day. Like it happens. Now my advice would be, you guys gotta not take it so seriously and personally, because if somebody, I remember very distinctly, I was practicing hard on the bus, and I was trying to go like, no one knows what I'm doing, but you guys think it's nice. And then this guy behind me is like, listen, man, I think you're probably doing something cool and whatever, and you're practicing or whatever, but can you please shut up? I'm just trying to take the bus home. That opened my eyes because I'm not just in my own head here. Everyone around me can hear me too, especially if I'm going like really hard. So you have to take into consideration other people. Do not take it personally, because once you showcase your skills and it gets to the point where you know it's going to be decent, they'll actually push you. And I've gotten nothing but support from everybody who used to tell me, shut the hell up. Nothing but support right after that.
So that high school talent show, was that kind of like a turning point where maybe your brothers and or family would see it and be like, wow, like they'd actually, respect you and do that? Because even in my own world, I was told a lot, stop making stupid noises, you're wasting your time. But then when stuff started picking up and getting shows and getting things on TV or whatever, they'd start being like, whoa, this is actually something that, you saw the practice go into, and now we're seeing the fruits of that labor. So what was the moment that you kind of had that kind of recognition and that full circle come in with your family saying like, okay, we respect what he does now. We encourage it. We want to go and be proud and be like, instead of just shut up and keep in the corner, but like, that's my son, that's my brother. My brother's the, beatboxer, like when did that happen? What was it? Was there a distinct moment?
Yeah, that was most probably the talent show, because right after the talent show was, to the talent show, my mom came. That was the first time my mom saw me live on a mic. Because before that, she just saw me like in person downstairs on a computer going off and telling her, Mom, I just beat this guy on battle, what's up? And then she's like, can you stop? It's 3:00 in the morning, please. Your dad's trying to sleep, or your grandmother is having like panic attacks. Can you just please stop? And eventually I understood that. But at the time, I didn't. So at the talent show, when my mom saw me, then I won, and everybody found out I was good. And then I go home, and my dad's like, wait, you won for spitting in a microphone? I was like, yeah. He's like, okay, I guess this is something. So because I won at something, they understood and recognized, okay, if other people recognize it as something, it must be something. So that from their point on, they just kind of pushed me, because that was the thing I was pushing my hardest in. And I just have really good parents, and I can't thank them enough for that. My dad saw me really go hard when I went to battle you at S3. That was the only time he saw me live, like for real. And then before that, it was just nonstop back and forth with him. But I've been getting a lot of help from them lately.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of going down and staying with your family and meeting your teta and everything. And you got a beautiful family, and I really do appreciate the opportunity to go and meet them and have a nice coffee and listen to some Kathul and getting some knowledge from them. That was a nice time. And that brings you up to the next thing. You had a video there where you had something you started off, and I think you're going to bring it back eventually, but you had the BBK show. And you talked about the beatbox life cycle, starting with the fun part, the discovery, the execution, and the review. Could you just give a very brief little rundown? I'm not talking about the full thing, but when did that come up to you? Because I feel like a lot of beatboxers go through those ups and downs that you mentioned throughout that cycle of, you start, you have these noises that you're learning the basics, and then people start saying, "Oh, you're biting. You're not doing your original stuff." And then it's figuring out who you are. And then maybe as you figure out who you are, eventually it's like, "Oh, now I'm not doing it as well, or I'm not doing as well as I hope to be doing." And then you get depressed again. So it's the ups and downs, and eventually figuring out who you are in the beatbox scene. What are your sounds? What are your things that you're finessing and being able to go and come up with yourself? And then it's that decision of, am I really going to pursue this, or am I just going to be a beatbox enjoyer and just enjoying it from kind of the sidelines because I have other life things to do? But when did you really start to like think of that idea and write it down, and like, could you explain it in a better way than I just did?
Yeah, so I was thinking about the ups and downs of all the other beatboxers that me and the other, like the current beatboxers were talking about, like the OGs back in the day, like Spevy we mentioned, and like Exam for Canadian OGs, for example, or like
Exam,
or like Kiz, the French OGs, for example. You know what I'm saying? Like people who are still part of the scene in some manner and who were prevalent back in the day, who have just gotten life in the way. And even myself, when I started working a lot with my parents in their business, I just kind of found myself not on the sidelines per se, but I really wasn't practicing like crazy. I was working all the time. So I just kind of saw this pattern of everybody, and I understood it to be what it was. And I think when you understand it and put it into perspective, you can really help you identify where you want to land and not be so hard on yourself when it comes to those things. Because a lot of beatboxers, they struggle with being hard on themselves. And that was the main reason why I made that cycle, was because it's like when they get this to a certain point and then they plateau for a bit, they think that's all. And then and people end up plateauing for a year because they think that's all. Instead of just realizing like, no, you're going to plateau, but then you have to like get uncomfortable. You're going to struggle, try and find some new sounds, which is what other beatboxers are not doing, especially myself too, because once you expand your sound repertoire, you expand you as a beatboxer. You don't just do the same beats anymore, because now you have new sounds. When you have new sounds, new beats come. So you have to learn every sound that's out right now, and then later on try and invent some new ones. But for now, learn everything. If you can't hollow clap, learn some hollow clap. If you can't lip roll, learn some lip roll. If you can't do chest bass, do some chest bass. I'm practicing all those because I need to try and get better. So with the life cycle, you're going to go up, you're going to get crazy addicted, you're going to plateau for a bit, and then you're going to think to yourself, damn it, I'm not getting any better, I'm not winning any battles. And that's another thing, because they keep struggling on these battle things and it's not important. And then you can eventually get past that, get some originality, you go up, and it keeps going up and down. But then eventually you'll discover if you're going to go hard like other people have. Like when I look at myself, I'm not going too hard. I'm still there and here, but I'm not going ham. I'm not looking at my iPhone, my phone every day and seeing Wawad make new videos with everything. Which shout out to Wawad, crazy creative.
Shout out to Wawad.
Yeah, that's for me the cycle. Everybody needs to just chill out, because you're going to get better as long as you want to. It's just if you want to.
It's funny. Not funny, but it's something that I realized a long time ago, though. When you hear some of the beatboxers, the originators that started off, from the Dougie Freshes, the Scratches, the Rozelle, Bismarcky, that era of beatboxing, and then moving forward, as more sounds get out there for people to use, the intricacy and levels of which they can do it at just keeps raising. And I always thought it was a thing of like, if the generation after mine and after the next person's and after the next person's isn't advancing our art form, then our generation has failed. So I'm so proud of I'm super proud of all the younger beatboxers and the new generations that I'm seeing that are just blowing my mind. And like, for example, seeing like a Hiss that came out for Grand Beatbox Battle, and he just comes out and smashes the stage, and you're like, whoa, where's this kid from? And now he's been in it for a few years. Yeah, and now he's been in there for a while, and you can see how he's already advancing and still advancing and pushing the scene. So it's amazing to go and watch that. Now. Yeah, he's starting to get that man look face. You know, he's really getting it to him. It's nice to see. But big shout outs to Hiss too. He's been doing some great stuff. Check out all the stuff on Korea Beatbox. I love their scene. They're just crushing it over there. And I was also going to ask you too, because some people don't know this about you who might have just tuned in. But if you're new to the scene, you are the Beatbox President. You are hashtag BBK for President. How did this come about? Because some people were asking before how this came about. When did you get this name? And what does it mean to you to be the Beatbox President?
So originally, because Codfish hit me up when he was back in the day Bunny Fluff. He had a video idea when he was making these COD lobby videos, and he said, "Hey, I want to battle D-Lo." That's right, guys, GBB. He already planned this 3 years ago. He said, "Hey, I need you to do an intro for us in the battle and keep time and basically be our Scott Jackson in, less words." I said, "Hey, absolutely." And I was just freestyling, ranting, as you know I do. And I don't know. That just came about. It just started. And then I just said, #BBK for President. From that moment on, I ran with it. It became a fire underneath me because now I had to stand for something because people took it way too serious. And then I go to GBB and all these videos are of my face in the middle of the battles. And now I am the actual president because everyone in the comments actually goes with it. Everyone's going with it. So now I'm the people's elected president of beatboxing.
Democratically.
I did not choose this for myself.
Absolutely, man. And I was going to say, too, because you're the president and now you're known around the world, it's crazy to see how many views you're getting just for your face, just your facial reaction, and people, yes, something like that. And you can also go and react to LM beatboxing or helium beatboxing, and those views are getting crazy reaction videos. It's funny. People are now reacting to your reaction videos. It's becoming that circle.
I've watched every single one, y'all. I've watched every single one of your reactions to my reactions. All right? It's cute. Don't get me wrong.
You see what they do. But what does it feel like just to be in the crowd? And this is another question that I saw a few people send me, and I think I know the answer to it because you have always been super genuine to me. You've never had any sort of, it was always just you're super genuine person. You're a straight up person. Do you put that on? Is that kind of like if you're a wrestler, is it going to be, is Stone Cold Steve Austin? Is that you in the crowd as BBK, the BBK for President, and then you're Joe? Or do you put BBK on when you're in it, when you're in the crowd for those reactions?
People think, sorry, buddy, there's a little bit of a lag. I don't know if it's on my end or yours, so let me know. For me personally, everyone thinks I'm A, faking it, B, on some type of drugs, or C, drunk out of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you right now, people, it's a little bit of three, but fully passionate about beatboxing. When I hear these things, it makes me do the ugly face. It's not, if I listen to music in my car, I do the exact same thing by myself. So very authentic. A lot of people in the crowd are starting to watch me and me waiting for me to react, to wait for them to react. And that's getting me annoyed. People, you love beatboxing. That's why you're going to these places and events. Watch the battles. Stop watching me react to the battles in the middle of the battle, people. Come on now. I know it's fun. I know it's funny, but this is an authentic reaction here. It's not meant to be taken as a joke or you want to just think I'm on drugs or whatever. It's cute. Don't get me wrong. And I understand why. I'm not going to lie. I do some really, really crazy faces that I look at myself in those videos. I'm just like, wow. So I completely understand. But it is my love for the beatboxing that keeps me going to these things. It keeps me reacting the way I do. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't be making those weird ass faces.
Yeah, I always thought, again, I think I've known you for a good long while. I know you pretty well. I consider you a brother and stuff. And it's funny to me when people come up and ask me these questions and being like, is he always like that or really like that? And I'm like, well, even if the camera's off and I see you sitting beside someone that's beatboxing, the face comes out and you can't help it because you're genuinely and I understand too that if you're in this front, you find your place that you're around. And from hosting GBB and can watch it, what's happening on the ground, I see some people that are watching you instead of what's actually happening in the battle because they're just so excited, which is a compliment to you. But at the same time too, they should be taking in the actual battle because that's where the response is coming from and make their own, if they feel it and it's going to be genuine rather, then that's what should come out of their own face, and their own reaction should be to that, not just to being like, well, BBK's making a face, I should go and make a face,
Yeah, bro, so. You can react to Inky. You don't have to watch me react to Inky.
Facts. Well, yeah, let's keep on going. Humdy Records.
Cool. Why don't you bring this up?
Well, I was doing some research on you. I was looking around the internet there and finding some things, and I saw there was a few things where you were beatboxing, you made a track, and then you're rapping on top of it. And we'll get back into that question a little bit later on. I just want to go and say, Hamdi Records, can you explain it to the people? When did you make it? What does it mean to you? When did this idea come to you?
It was, I don't know, I was young. I was like with my cousin, and we just made this word Hamdi to like describe anything in the middle. I don't know why. It's like Hamdi this, Hamdi that. But then I was rapping, and the first thing that came out of my friggin' mouth after Yo was Hamdi Records. I thought it was funny. Even when I went to the King of the Dot battles, thank you, by the way, for hooking me up. Even in then, it said Hamdi Records. Like I say it every time, Hamdi Records all day. Even Mr. Pedro, Mix FX, to this day, every time I message him, yo, what's up, Hamdi Records? So it stays alive in some manner of sense, especially in that G Money battle.
Oh, that's a classic.
You know me. That was the epic.
Yeah.
Everyone thought I was like on top when they saw that. That was funny as heck. But yeah, there was just a little joke that I ran with, and one day, why not?
One day, why not? Yeah, I agree with you. You know, you're down there in Florida, and you're making some money. One day, you'll be starting off Hamdi Records and be pushing that all the way. I'd like to see that. Heck yeah, I like that a lot. I was gonna say too, it's in this day and age now, in the current world state, there's been a revert back to making online battles very prominent with GBB online, Le Cup online. We have the Francophony battle that's going on right now. That's going to be super crazy. We have all sorts of battles that are coming out, and people are making this happen because the beatbox community now can't go to live battles. So things have been postponed or canceled. So they're trying to make these things for our community to keep pushing forward with battles. Being that you are the first Vent BBX champion, I remember seeing that. That's from a little while ago. But you won the Vent BBX battle online, and you've battled all sorts of people from like guys like Looperman, Mr. Wobbles, Tim A, Ninos, Kenny Urban, J-Flow, so many more beatboxers that you actually have YouTube clips up from the Vent days. And being that that's where you learned the art form, what is your thought on the current world scene now that it's coming back to having these online battles? What is your current thought of the online scene currently from what it was, and also what are your thoughts on the battles that are happening right now? Because you've been in the reaction room with Roxer Loops and stuff, so you're still being involved in it. But just what are your thoughts on where the scene's come from and gone to, and where it's going?
I love that online battles now are starting to count for something, because a lot of people who are unable to make these trips, this is really all we got. So I was one of them, especially when you're younger. It's like not a lot of 15-year-olds can get permission from their parents to go to Europe for a battle. You know, it's not going to happen. So I'm glad that it's for something. However, I was actually thinking about this yesterday. That's funny that you asked, because I was watching something that involved Smash Bros, their competitive scene. And because for them, being live where there's no lag, and then going to online where there's lag, it's happening to us too. Some guys have a better mic quality than others. There's so many different factors when it comes to online that it's never 50-50. Unless the judge is understanding of both parties, the effects and what have you, then it's like it's never a 50-50 battle on an online. And I was thinking that it should technically be counted for something, but not as an official. I have no clue. I was thinking about it yesterday and I'm very conflicted with my own thoughts because of this. And because of the non-50-50, it's not fair for some people. If somebody lags out versus somebody else who's clearly better than the other, and then that person goes on because he lagged out, then it's like, I don't know. But it's a conversation to be had. I'm just not sure of the answer.
That's fair enough. And what about where the scene, because again, you being from the Ventrilo days, and even before that, we had humanbeatbox.com where people weren't even posting battles and having battles. It'd just be, the battles would be, I'm going to record something, then you record something, and we'll let the two things be up there and you can listen to each one and people will decide, right? But from where the scene's gone from and where it's being pushed to with people like Decoy and having beatbox community and running battles, and people are now running way more online battles because of the situation. What do you think of the scene in general, just the online battle scene specifically, from where it came from in the Ventrilo days and Human Beatbox days to where it is now? Do you see it improving? Do you see there's problems that are on either than sound quality? Do you see there's just overall? What's your thought?
I think that the community has gone above and beyond what we could potentially thought it was going to be. Back then in Ventrilo we had 30. Now we're upwards of 20,000 people on Beatbox community. Jeez. So shout out Beatbox community. So like it's unbelievable what we can do now with the technology at our hands, and I'm so glad we're taking full advantage of it, and we should be. If we don't have any other means, we need to be, because this honestly does keep us on our toes, gives us access to jam, converse with one another, train with one another, and also for fun battle. So, and don't take battling so important, people. It's a way to really like spar and perfect your craft a little bit. It does not equate to live stage performances for showcases and what have you, but it is a good way to continue to perfect your craft. And I love where the beatboxing is going right now. It's amazing.
Same here. I've been loving, actually, it's funny, from never really being online from Human Beatbox, was on humanbeatbox.com. Shout outs to Type for, throwing that up way back in the day. Type. But then moving forward to now and being like, okay, how do we get involved? Because I kind of missed a little portion, and learning how to download Discord and getting walked through it, because you're like, there's, I don't know how to use these things and I'm not that good online, but it's been really nice to see it and still be able to go and see someone like right now I'm talking to you and get to see your face. And it's nice to be able to see that face and have that comfort, right? And being able to still do stuff. So it's crazy to see that. But I wanted to ask you about battling itself too, because you have so many titles under your belt. You got the 2-time Canadian champ solo. You got the Toronto champ that happened. Much Music tag team and tag team Canadian champ with C Fresh, the Fresh Boys, just representing. You won yourself actually a Proud to be an MC King of the Dot rap battle, which some people don't know about. But you have many different championships under your belt. I wanted to ask you, how important is battling to the development of a new beatboxer, and how important is battling in the scene itself? Not only that, I also want to ask you, what have you taken away from the battling experience? So out of the battles, what have you learned about yourself maybe, or what have you taken away and been like, if it wasn't for this, I wouldn't have done that? Or what lessons have you learned?
So I'll start with the first. Battling in itself was the fundamental beatbox thing that made us who we are today, because we were inbred and born of hip-hop. We may have evolutionized in some manner, but our root, no matter what no one says, is still hip-hop. Now, with that, beatboxers battled, and they allowed other rappers to spar and battle. And for us, beatboxing is hard to master if you're just doing it by yourself. And it's hard to master if you're only doing it for A, showcasing, or B, just battles. Battles are a way to keep your sword sharp. This is all it is. It is not an excuse to just be a battle beatboxer, because showcasing is important for us. We are still trying to develop the skills and means to perform as a showman and as a musician, so that the public can see us and gander. Because people, I think I saw a very funny Instagram video today on Beatbox Battle. The guy, he's like, hey, do Billie Jean. He's like, oh, that's crazy. He's like, oh, I can do this too. He's like, oh, what the hell is that? Even though we both know it's more impressive, but they want Billie Jean. And this is the middle ground we beatboxers need to meet. And the only way to meet it is because you got to get really, really good by battling and battling others, learning from those losses, which we will touch on now, and gaining more experience. Because experience battling and experience battling on a stage are crucial, so that you can learn how to showcase, perform, and public speak. I didn't know that I was bad at public speaking until the first time I got on the mic at the talent show, and I never looked up. I always looked at my shoe. Yes, my head's down. No one sees the eyes. It is only until the later years where I was like, this is what you want to see. This is what brings you and captivates you. But you need to get confident in your skills by consistently going out to those battles, open mics, and getting some losses. It's okay to lose. It's not, who cares? It's like, you just battle tomorrow. You know how many times I lost to Kim online, or how many times I lost to Alem online, or Karina Bex, or C-Fresh, my own blood and partner, online? You know how many times he smacked me and called me whack, or told me that I was not fresh enough for him?
Jeez.
But guess what? We fresh boys now.
You fresh boys now, Canadian tag team champs. Yay, yay.
That's right. But I believe that the best thing that I've learned from it is that gaining the confidence enough to actually look up on stage and perform whatever you want and move around and like do it. Like stage presence is almost like 50% of whatever. Because a beatboxer could be dope as heck, but if you're just standing there, like you could be cool, but like I'm just standing there. But if I'm just like getting up and getting in your face, like it's like even then, just get a little bit more reaction, get a little bit more of a emotion into your beatboxing. That's the main part. You need more emotion. It can't just be robotic or just beats. It has to be emotion coming from here. And you can tell when it comes because you feel it almost right away.
Absolutely. And I saw you can see that in different battles where someone might not have had listening to it back in the moment. When you watch a battle, you're like, that guy just smoked him, or she just definitely dominated the stage and won with that. But then when you listen to it back, if you didn't have a visual aspect to it, and it was just through a headphone, so you heard 1 to 2, 1 to 2, you would think that the other person won, right? That's always been a hard thing as a judge to go and make that call in the moment of. So I wanted to go and say, what are your thoughts on actually, how much would that count for in a battle? Is the emotion and the way that someone battles and little techniques of not just your beatboxing necessarily, but being able to do stuff like beatbox is magic, where Skiller throws up the thing. I love that. I'm about the pageantry. I like the pageantry for beatboxing. You know what I'm saying? But like, how much should that account for the actual battle points? If you had an option as it went, because you've judged before. So what do you think? Yeah.
I've judged and I've been part of the judging system where I've done a somersault on stage and had that almost in my favor. No offense, Peter. I'm sorry, buddy. I know I did. I know what I did. Okay. But I think the categories as it is now are good, but the scoring system needs to be different, or the way it's judged needs to be different, because stage presence at the moment is about either 25 to 20% of your mark. And I think that is pretty decent in comparison to the technical ability you have, the originality you have, and the musicianry and timing you have. Like these all come into play. I don't know. Well, for me personally, I'm just going to speak for me personally because I can't speak for everybody. So, and I'm not going to give a definitive answer. For me personally, I think stage presence is almost 50% of who I am as a beatboxer. And then the other, well, maybe probably 70, I'm not going to lie. And then the other percentage would be just my raw ability to beatbox. But I believe it's what carries me to actually perform and give my all that people vibe with and get very emotionally attached to the beats or get very reactive to my beats because of the stage presence. I know the first time I went to Europe for St. Gallen, Mike Spawn saw no, it was La Cup. It was La Cup against Polo, and I got smacked. Shout out to Polo. Mike Spawn, when he saw me go on stage, because you know me, I just and I go, walk back and forth, do my thing, and he goes, BBK, whoa, I never see no one walk like this. This is crazy. You must keep this, man. And ever since then, I was just like, all right, I got something. And I feel like if I can bring somebody like Mike Spawn, a legend, to get that emotional over me losing, I'm doing something right.
Yeah, man. I love when you do that stuff, and everything from front rolls to pirouettes to falling into the crowd to just bringing that energy up. I love when I see people actually go and have thought out processes, or maybe just caught in the moment of somebody catching a hat or doing something back, and having that conflict on stage. I think it brings a lot more than just if you were to have two people not just side by side, straightforward looking. And that's why a lot of the time you're encouraged to go and do that face to face, battle style. So it's really awesome to see. And I was going to say too, I heard on a podcast with you and Elise that you guys were talking back and forth a little bit. We'll see if the battle actually happens due to the current situation.
I hope, brother.
Either than trying to go for the three-time solo champ in Canada, what other beatbox battles do you have aspirations for? Because I know that currently, whenever the World Champs does come up, you and C-Fresh are currently able to go and participate in that because you've qualified for winning the national championships. But are there any other battle plans that you have where you're like, I want to be the solo champion of Canada again, so I can be the first 3-time official, and I want to go and do the World Champs with Connor. Is there anything else that you would want to do beatbox battle wise that you're just like, I want to go and participate in this battle, or I have this goal set for myself?
I actually, after this year, getting so back into beatboxing, like personally, like in my personal life, even though I'm working and not posting anything, I'm beatboxing so much more. I feel like a kid again. And I think I might throw out wild cards for whatever competitions come my way. Vocal, Total, GBB. Even if I'm gonna attend, I'm gonna probably see if I can battle, because at that 7 of smoke, I'm gonna go off. I really, really want to go off again. I want people to remember. Because now they just think of me as a face. I'm just like, what the hell, bro? It's not like I'm just this.
Yeah, it's fun. I was gonna bring that back. If sometimes people that are new to the scene, if they haven't been around for however many years, and they come up to see you, I've seen it happen. It happens to me too. They're just like, "Oh, yo, you're a sick host," and I'm like, "Oh, I still beatbox, you know." And then you got to beat for later. It's like, "Man, your face expression is crazy," and they're just like, "Yeah, man, I'm 2-time Canadian champ, sick." So I'm saying, I'm happy to see that. So what is it that keeps a beatboxer have that fire? Because again, we talked about it before with the beatbox cycle, but what is it? What do you think that keeps a fire in a beatboxer to want to battle or want to have that point where you put yourself on the line and put your reputation on the line and you put all these things? As much as you said maybe battles don't necessarily matter because you win, you lose, and in between there's that part of growth. But
I want to win.
Yeah, I always want to win. And
yeah,
but where
that's just ego.
But where does that come in where they have that that fire and that want to pursue excellence and try to become the world champion at one point or the GBB champion, or they want to go and have that really high level? What is it that you do for yourself and you recommend for other people to keep that fire?
Well, I've also had struggles in this position as well. And I'm going to refer to a story I've told, which is I've actually randomly asked after GBB 2H, who doesn't speak English, who I thought didn't speak English. Every time I go see him at GBB and all these events, he's just like, "Hello, BBK." And I'm like, "Okay, what up, bro?" And I message him. I'm like, "Yo, what keeps you motivated to beatbox? What keeps you like pushing yourself to make these crazy new beats?" Because me, I'll beatbox, but I'm not making anything new, like innovative or something that I haven't done before or haven't heard before. I'm just trying to switch up my style and trying to get better at what I am, and that's what a lot of people get stuck on. And I asked him, I'm like, "How do you do it?" And this guy, who I thought spoke barely any English, messaged me a beautiful essay written in MLA format with index, punctuations, and all. And this guy says, "It is from my own volition." And that's the key word. It's from your own volition that you pursue the beatboxing. Because at one point, you're going to realize, A, this is where I'm comfortable at, or B, I'm not comfortable here. It's that road to decision making that I'm still stuck on. But I know as a result, us beatboxers need to focus on becoming better beatboxers, not world champ, not Canadian champ, not American champ, and so forth. Because if you get stuck on focusing on that, when you reach that, then what? Alem never focused on becoming world champ. He just wanted it real bad. But he wanted to be the best beatboxer he can be and keep outdoing himself. He never stopped outdoing himself. He never stopped making new beats. He never stopped making crazier new techniques. And none of you have ever stopped watching him because of that fact. None of you. And now Alexino's doing the same thing, and it's almost beautiful to watch. When you become a better beatboxer for yourself, you become a better beatboxer exterior, and then you can spar and see who's better for real. Because everyone wants to be the best. No one likes losing, especially when you're putting a lot into your craft. If I'm beatboxing for 10 years, there's no way in hell I'm going to lose without going down with a fight. I'm going to make you struggle your butt off. Regardless if you're world champ, I will battle you, Alexino. Watch it. So you need to really understand, just focus on yourselves and have pride in the fact that you put a lot of effort into your craft. And it's okay to lose, but you want to win. Always focus on you just being a better beatboxer and winning. If you lose, it's okay, but God damn it, you want to win.
Win that. That's what I like to hear. I got a bunch of questions to get through as well. In 2016, speaking of Grand Beatbox Battle, 2016 was the first time you came over when it was happening in Switzerland, and you came over to the battle, and you did this interview for Beatbox Guru. And yes, during that interview, you said some very interesting things, but the one that I kind of fixated on is you're very proud of your Lebanese heritage that you're saying to me, and I can see it at your household when I go there and seeing your teta and seeing your family and seeing where that comes from. And I love to see when you bring those style of beats in and you bring some of the influence from your culture into the beatbox scene that you have. But one of the things that you said in the interview is one of your biggest goals was to bring beatboxing and make it explode in Lebanon. You really wanted to go and expand the scene out there. And recently online, I saw that a guy named ScottJacksonBeatbox, and I think his name was Mr. Bain, they created the LBX, and citing you as one of the main supporters, one of the main people that pushed him to go and create this community. So I wanted to get a quick little thought on how you see the scene going over there. Have you seen improvements? And also I wanted to know, for scenes that are just starting out in some countries that are smaller and maybe don't have that much of a scene and it's not grown, taken on yet. So scenes that are just starting out, what advice do you give for scenes that are just starting off to grow and get that community feel and make it actually be an option for them to go and make it grow and grow and grow, not only in the Lebanese scene, but just worldwide for communities that are just starting out? But also I want you to go and speak on the Lebanese scene that just is growing, as I can see.
So I'm going to talk about everything else first before I go into the Lebanese scene, because there's a little bit of controversy that you didn't know about the Lebanese scene behind the scenes.
Okay.
So I'm going to say this. For anybody that's starting up, you need to partner up with each other and focus on building the community large enough so that one another can support each other. The problem is that a lot of people will say, yes, I'm a beatboxer, but they're not going to support, they're not tagging everybody. They're not sharing everyone's stuff. They're not actually promoting and helping promoting, and they're only in it just to be in it. And a lot of people need to understand and take responsibility that just because you join a community, it's not up to the community leaders to do everything for you. You have to also do your part as that community and promote, share, do what you can in any instance in order to help those people help you. Because, for example, I know Scott Jackson over here puts on the Beatbox Canadian Championships with his team, Philly D, Eric, and the whole team. Guys, thank you very much. Beatbox Canada. And they don't get that much help, even from our scene. We do our best, but we need to do more, and it's hard to figure out what that is. But we can all collectively come together and try and figure it out. Especially with a lot of people coming into our scene, the communities are getting bigger. There's a lot of ideas that can float around, and we can all just work together on doing it. Now, with the Lebanese scene, originally, this is going to be some controversial stuff because I really want to get into this because it ties into the little other beefs. Originally, the Lebanese beatbox community was part of a bigger conglomerate over there in the Middle East, known as the Arab beatbox community. Essentially, things went a different route with one of the admins of the LBX community and the Arab beatbox community. So the guy got kicked out, and he said, you know what? If you kick me out, I'm going to make my own Lebanese beatbox community. Everybody joined that one, and now there's a little bit of a controversy between who's leader, who started what, and what have you. What I'm going to say is this. My boy Psycho, my boy Mr. Bain, called me up, and they told me that, we're trying to make the Lebanese beatbox community grow. They're not really helping in that sense. They have started it. Indeed, they did start it. So I'm not taking anything away from the Arab beatbox community because I'm still supporting with the Arab beatbox community fully and full on. Actually, they just recently had a championship, which I saw online, and I'm really happy to watch that. I was watching it a lot, actually. So shout out to all my boys in the Arab beatbox community. Everybody leveled up, I swear. Thank you very much for letting me watch that. With the Lebanese beatbox community, they wanted to do their own thing because they're not receiving the exact help or exact thing that they wanted, and that's okay. It's not something that there needs to be controversy on, no beef, but I'm with my boys. They're pushing and have the biggest Lebanese beatbox community that I've seen. He told me he saw that interview with Beatbox Guru, and it inspired him to want to make this beatbox community. And he did it off of that exact interview. And I'm so proud of my boy Psycho and Mr. Bain and the whole Lebanese beatbox community. Shout out. I'm in the WhatsApp with them every day. They are crazy.
I like to see that, man. It's crazy how scenes that happens sometimes. There's controversy that starts up, and it's been difficult. You can see it at the highest level, and you can see it at the smallest level when it comes to even cities and towns. And this is not just unique to the beatbox world, for sure. It's in every aspect of life. But it's always weird, and people just have those controversies that start up where somebody's made something, somebody else makes something because they don't agree with it, and then they start clashing instead of working together.
Yeah.
So it's something that I wish I'd see more people take, not necessarily the high road, because that's not the correct way of saying it, but I wish more communities would come together and put differences aside to work together to improve the overall scene in their community, in their country, and all these things. So it's a good point that you brought that up, because I was actually kind of alluding to that, wondering, and you actually answered it perfectly. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to switch this up right now. We're going to go to rapid fire questions. BBK, are you ready?
Let's go.
All I want you to do right now is I'm going to ask you about 8-10 questions, and I just need you to go and answer them as quickly as possible, all right? You can't have any thought to it, and you will not be held responsible if you say something you don't need to. Maybe you will be. We'll see what the internet says. But, ladies and gentlemen, quick fire questions starting in 3, 2, 1. Current favorite solo beatboxer?
Oh, damn. Reaps.
Current favorite looper?
Ike.
Current favorite take team?
Fresh Boys.
Jeez. Is Sprite still a secret to beatboxing, as you said 11 years ago?
Never was. Water.
Is Uninvited still the worst movie you've ever made?
Period.
Do you still get confused about things that may seem confusing, which in fact are confusing, in which case causes you to be confused?
I'm confused by that question.
And can you still tectonic dance? All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was quick fire questions just for you, which is going to go to my next section, which is questions from our good friend Paponi. Our good friend Paponi sent me a few questions and he wants to know. So we're going to be able to go and ask you them right now. And then we're actually going to go and tune in and see what some of the questions are happening in the comment that Madox is going to have in this going. So he's going to go and send me a few questions at the comments that are being made. And if you have any questions right now, I'm going to do the questions from Paponi, then ask our viewers right now if they have any real questions that they want to ask. So don't spam it, but make sure that you guys put in a few questions there and we'll get to them momentarily. But questions from Paponi. First of all, he asks you, what is the biggest moment in your beatbox career so far?
Whoa.
No pressure.
Honestly, BBK facial reaction compilation.
Jeez, that's the biggest moment.
Bro, that right there. I'm just like, oh wow, 4 years of going to a competition and making facial reactions and the face actually paid off somehow.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands of views, man. It's crazy.
Hundreds of thousands? Bro, millions.
Millions now.
Millions. There's millions and millions of views of just my face.
That's true. And it's a beautiful one, though. It's a beautiful one to have.
I appreciate that.
Next question from Pony, and he'll be his last question before we get to questions from the actual crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, what would you like to see / realize for the future of the actual beatbox scene? What is it that you've seen, because you've been in here for a while and you've seen it grow? Where do you think it's going, and what do you want to see? What are hopes and dreams and aspirations you have for our scene itself?
I think we can be as big as everybody else that you watch on your phones, YouTube, listen to on your music, and everything. When I watch the hip-hop community in itself, listening to all them, looking at the battles even on IG Live, I see us. I think about us. I'm not even fun. I really think, especially with people blowing up in the scenes, like all of my Barry Wime performing in front of like stadiums, even Spencer X getting crazy exposure on TikTok. These are huge things that in itself, and Darnie making albums, Amit making albums, Beatbox making albums. Let's go. Like, we need to make what Razel said, expand our catalog, because that's how you are going to be seen as. Not by these YouTube videos and battles. It's by the catalog of which you can present to people down the line. And it's that of which you can use to monetize and become exposed in the scene where I think we can be seen as musicians and performers, not just beatboxers.
I think that's a good answer, and I'd like to see that as well. Those were questions from Paponi, and now we're going to move on to questions from the audience, ladies and gentlemen. So these are questions that you guys, this is what we're just looking at. I'm seeing a lot of different people. We got Lisi, we got Two Time, we got Cymax, we got Sparks in there. I've seen a bunch of people that have been asking questions, but this is from Madox. He sent me questions that you guys asked, so I'm going to be going through them. What's more important, polishing sounds or learning new ones?
Whoa. Polishing is more important, but it's still important to learn new sounds. But you need to polish your sounds, because you can have the most expensive repertoire, but if they all sound like garbage, then it's worthless.
That's fact. I like that. And what are the? Oh, I mean, I'm going to be asking that question anyways. This is a question: Does presidential host ever going to be making a comeback? Are you and I ever going to go and mess around on a stage somewhere
You know
again?
how mad Connor is? I'll never hear the end of it. And then Sparks put something in her story about me being her competitor now, or her teammate. And now I'm just like, he is so angry with me, and we're champions. I mean, listen, I have to go Fresh Boys all day. Now that Connor is always there. But if Connor is ever unable to attend, presidential host.
I like to see that. But big shouts to Connor C Fresh. You're the homie. You and I got to go to his wedding, and that was a fun time to say the least. There's some funny stories that came out of that, my good friend. But we'll just leave it at that and allow people to go and think about what they
I fell asleep in the bathroom off of wine, guys. I'm sorry. All right, that's what he's alluding to. I fell asleep in the bathroom. All right, it was a really, really bad wine night. It was an open bar. I fell asleep for 45 minutes. The guy was knocking on the door the whole time. I got out the door like nothing happened. He's like, "Hey, man, you fell asleep?" I looked him dead ass in the eye. I said, "Nah, did you?"
So good times, though. Good times. Another question. Actually, this is one of the last questions we have, because we've been together right now already for 53 minutes. So we got to make sure we got a couple more things, unless people just want us to keep on going forever, because I could talk to you forever, my friend. But currently, you're down in the United States. You are the owner. You own a Dairy Queen down in Florida. So could you kind of give us a little explanation of, outside of beatboxing? We'll just focus on your work life for now, but outside of beatboxing, sitting here with owning a Dairy Queen down in Florida where it's hot, people need the ice cream. I got some questions about that in the chat too that I'll ask right afterwards. But my question is, how did you get about to moving from Windsor in Canada down to the United States and owning this Dairy Queen? And how does it feel to be an owner and be the guy that everyone relies on for that? And just give us a quick little synopsis of what you're doing down there in Florida, man.
Well, it's stressful, to say the least. So my uncle had a friend who was trying to get rid of the business, and my uncle has a secret, ingenious plan to move everybody down to Florida somehow, because it is his retirement home spot that he wants. So I saw the opportunity. My parents, we needed a business to, fund for our home and what have you, and provide for the family. So I went with it. I came down here 2 years ago, and it's been wild. Florida's crazy. It's just as crazy as everyone thinks. The Florida man, I've met 7 of them. Jesus.
Real thing.
It's a real thing, man. Now, I say stressful, but it is fun. I was working with my parents prior in their business. I can't really go back to working for other people in that sense. I mean, I can, of course, I could do anything, but it's just, it would be difficult for me to go back on that. I'm putting a lot more work and a lot more effort and a lot more this, because it's my own business, and I provide for these people as well, like my employees, my whole staff, who I can't thank enough. My whole DQ staff, by the way, West Palm Beach Dairy Queen, WPB_Dairy Queen. That's right. If you want to go on Instagram, thank you. It's nice to see the fruits of your labor come to fruition, and I can't wait to see where I can take this business, and maybe I can sponsor some beatbox events. And that's initially what my initial thought was. It's some place where I can provide for my family, provide for myself to go to these beatbox events, and in the future, who knows, just host my own, sponsored by DQ.
I like that. And how much foreshadowing was involved with you in the milking cows video?
That's crazy. I didn't even think about it like that too.
Yeah. How much foreshadowing in the actual world? It's funny how things work out when you look at it. You went from milking cows out in the field with Mando hyping you up to now you're owning a Dairy Queen in Florida. That's amazing to see. Thinking thought crashers, make it going together. But questions from the crowd. Questions from the crowd. Number 1, how much ice cream are you currently selling?
Guys, this week was my busiest week by far. I don't know what happened. It sounds like we're in an air tunnel of some sort.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think.
This week was my busiest week by far. No coronavirus has actually taken down these people. The Floridians do not want to stay inside. It is the slope is coming down. Thankfully, we are taking extra precautions, masks, gloves, and all, keeping the drive-through open only. And people are wrapped around the building at all times. I'm thankful that people are still coming to me that I can provide for my staff and my family. So thank you to everyone, and I'm just thanking the powers above and thanking God that, you know, I'm able to still work during these hard times, because I know many people are not, and I hope everyone's staying safe, and hopefully their families are good too.
100%. And on a less serious note, what's your favorite ice cream? What's your favorite sprinkle? If you had to go and make your before you go home, let's say, or when you get there and you're sitting in the shop that you own, the Dairy Queen that you own, what is it that you make for yourself that you're like, this is my favorite thing Dairy Queen has to offer? Okay.
I'm a simple man.
Okay.
I used to be the type to combine almost everything. But now, experience of expensive taste. Butterscotch dipped cone. When I tell y'all, it blew my mind. Also, the cotton candy one's fire too. Cotton candy dipped cone. I used to get everything in the blizzard. I can't do that no more. I started getting too much weight. I got to cut down on my ice cream, people. So I went on with just a little kid cone, have a little bite to myself, a little snack, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Delicious, succulent, juicy. Exquisite.
You heard it right here. You got to get yourself a butterscotch dip cone.
They probably won't have it.
They probably won't have it?
No,
is that an exclusive?
Yeah, because most people do not carry all the dips, and right now cotton candy took place of butterscotch. Me, BBK, I got a big warmer. I put all of them dips. I got chocolate. I got cherry. We got dreamsicle. That's right, like creamsicle. You know creamsicle? We got that in a dip. We got cotton candy, we got the butterscotch. West Palm Beach Dairy Queen, people.
Jeez. Ladies and gentlemen, this is BBK right here live. This is the first episode. You're a first guest here. Thank you so much for joining us. But we're going to do... Well, I got one more series of questions that I want to ask you, and then we're going to end off with a freestyle here. If you guys are liking what you're watching, spread this around. We're going to be doing it every week. But I want to go and look forward in your life. And what are things that you're currently working on? I know you were mentioning with Beatbox Talk, C Fresh and Decoy, that you started off originally with our boy Young, and now it's become the Beatbox community. But I know that you guys are starting up making some content with them, doing a podcast with them. You're starting your YouTube channel back. Maybe the BBK show comes back. You got an album coming. I want you right now to plug all this stuff. Tell people where they can find you at. Make this all happen. What else is happening? Where else is happening?
All right, y'all.
Come on, let's go. BBK.
Let's first shout out Decoy and the Beatbox community, taking it to a full 180. From Beatbox Talk, from our original just podcast idea, which Scott Jackson was on our first ever in-person live podcast episode, to making it what it is. And I'm thankful that the podcast has lived on, and I'm thankful that Decoy has taken it to a whole new level, the Beatbox community. So please, guys, check out the Beatbox community. C Fresh and I are going to create the Beatbox show, which has taken place of the BBK show, because I think that I and C Fresh have a lot to offer in terms of news, updates, and all when it comes to beatboxing. And people apparently like to hear me talk. So also... BBK album coming soon. After this all blows over, it's already all written. It just needs to be done. Other than that, Fresh Boys all day, BBK all day, hashtag BBK for President. Thank you for the opportunity, by the way. Appreciate you, Papuni. Appreciate you, Madox. Appreciate you, Sinjo, for taking your time with my audio and stuff. And thank you, Scott. I know we had a little rough one yesterday, but we made it, and I'm glad we did it.
Hey, it's not looking at the problems of today, but looking to the successes of tomorrow. Is what always gets you through the day. I'm
stealing that and putting that quote in my business. I hope you don't mind.
No problem, man. Just give me a little CC underneath, little quote, you know. But this is what we're gonna do right here. Before we jump out of here, I need to get an official BBK for President, hashtag BBK for President. I need you to go and make a presidential speech.
Well then, in my head, there is the horns of that. So just keep that in mind. That's going in my head. People, hear me. BBK. Hashtag BBK for President. I know you're all at home, sitting there, bored out of your mind. Hopefully some of you are working, and if not, hopefully you're just beatboxing and training. That's right, I see you in your rooms, not training. This is a time for us, as beatboxers, to take this opportunity and treat it like a hyperbolic time chamber in which we, create content, beats, and evolve. That's right, evolve. What do? We beatbox. We beatboxers evolve. I take that to heart because we non-stop get better at what we are doing. You look at 2009 beatboxing to 2020 beatboxing, it is like unparalleled universes. We have an opportunity now to train our buttocks off in order to become better humans, better beatboxers, and practice social distancing. I hope we can see each other in the fields of GBB. Until then, hashtag BBK for President.
Ish.
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 And the way we're going to finish this off, I'm going to go and say something at the very end as an outro. But ladies and gentlemen, the two-time Canadian champ, all-around Beatbox President, my good friend, Joe, it's been a pleasure. But I really want to go in and on this note. Show them what you do with that mouth. Go ahead and smash some beats for them. I'm looking forward to you dropping some beats right now. He is switching it up. He's running to do something. Something's about to go down. He is getting a little bit of liquid, making sure that his mouth is nice and moist, ready to go. I can see it, the monster that you had right there. He's getting some energy. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've enjoyed the show so far, make sure you tune in next week. We'll be coming at you guys live every Sunday, and we'll be putting this on YouTube as well. Shout out to the whole team. We got Madox, we got Pony, we got Trung for making all the visuals. We got Rachel from SBX. We got Decoy going on it. We got so many different people working on this. So thank you guys for helping make this thing possible. This is Beyond the Beats with Scott Jackson. My boy BBK is going to go and drop a fire freestyle right now. BBK, it's on you in 3, 2, 1. Beatbox. Time. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, right here, Beyond the Beats, official Swiss Beatbox podcast. I'm your host, Scott Jackson. Our first guest was the one, the only, the legendary, my brother from Canada. We had BBK on. Thank you guys for tuning in. Tune in next week. We'll be on Sundays. We have a bunch of more guests coming in, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Tell us what you think. We'll be putting it back up on YouTube. Look at that beautiful face. We have my good friend right there, BBK. Thank you for joining me, brother. I love you, and I can't wait to go and see you in person. Keep on enjoying, slanging that ice cream, making content, pushing the scene. But we're going to sign off like that. So, ladies and gentlemen, peace out one more time. Beyond the Beats. Tune in again next week to find out what's happening. Beyond the Beats. Finding out. Hashtag for President. BBK for President. Make that. Jeez. And then off on a sour note, though. I'm just joking. I can't figure out how to go and talk to finish off. But thank you guys for tuning in. And we're going to press time on that. Love you, BBK.
Love you too.
I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it right now. Before we go, I can't even believe this. Look at this. All these people are right now. From Peter Pot. Oh, Peter Pot's watching. Big shout outs to Peter Pot. Everybody's watching here. I'm glad to go and see you guys tune in. But we'll be back next week. Once again, tune in. Hashtag BBK for President. And that's time on the first episode. Tune back in next week to find out what's happening beyond the beats.